Hello and welcome to YHTV's Flowing into Awareness with visionary and master intuitive Anatara. This is episode 22. I'm Christina Suzuma, your host of this program. And today we're speaking of let's not hurry. Hello, Anatara.
Good afternoon, Christina.
Okay, now it's time to speed things up. So let's not hurry.
Let's not.
Mm.
I just drove from Eastern Ontario, Canada to Western Canada, and it was a drive that took a week to do. My husband and I got into the car and we drove across the country, and there were times when we would get caught up in the speed of the cars going through a city. And you could tell that the people in the city were really trying to get somewhere in a hurry. And maybe it was morning rush hour, maybe it was the evening rush hour, sometimes it was just the energetic of the city. Where it feels that one is being drawn into hurrying, where it feels like for some reason hurrying and moving through things rapidly is what's up. That's what's required. That's what you do. And then we would sort of be spat out of that speedy traffic, and we'd be into the vastness of the prairies, or the vastness of the timberlands of British Columbia, and or you'd look out over northern Lake Superior and you'd think there is no hurry there. and and so I felt inside to the places within me that allow me to feel okay being still and or want me to speed up. And I noticed that there were certain moments in the day where I would feel myself, not the speed of the car, let's say, but the speed of the way I was thinking, or the speed of my desire was increasing. And so I looked again and I said to myself, that is interesting. What stimulated that? What made me feel like I needed to speed up? So there were different reasons. Sometimes it was anticipation of a place I knew that we were coming to that I wanted to get to because I couldn't wait, and I was excited about it. and I knew that I was going to see a beautiful waterfall, or I was going to be able to swim, within 10 or 15 minutes, and I just couldn't contain excitement. So excitement sped me up. And sometimes I would think the sun is setting. It's getting dark. We need to get to a campground before it's dark so that we can actually set up without the mosquitoes eating us alive, and or to find out where the tent is going to go. So that was a different sort of anticipation, or a different sort of increase literally in speed. First, the speed of my thought, then the speed of how I explained it, what I was thinking to my husband, and then perhaps even the speed of the car. So I wondered about why any of that even mattered. Does it really matter if we set up camp before dark? Well, there's some practical reasons why it does, but does it really? No, it doesn't really matter. And as I merged back into my life, in British Columbia, and back into the school year with my grandsons, and being around my daughter and my son-in-law, and they're going to work, and you have to be there at a certain time. There is a certain kind of hurrying that is required to get the kids to school on time sometimes, and to get themselves to work. So I have been deeply, deeply assessing whether any of that, or perhaps how important any of that is to any of us. The schedules that we try to keep, the pressure it puts on us to try to maintain those schedules, to be at the bank before it closes, to get to the supermarket when it just opens so that you get whatever deal it is that you want to find. What happens to us internally when we hurry? And physiologically, what does that do to us? What hormones are released? What thoughts come up because put ourselves into that stream of hurrying, of rushing. And more than anything, what are we missing?
Mm.
And do we really want that? And I suppose that sometimes we do want to hurry up, and sometimes we do like the sense of speed. I love to go fast. I really, really like it. And I also really enjoy being at ease and taking things slowly. You and I were talking about how, at the moment, I'm not really sure exactly where I'm going to place my energies this fall. I'm not sure whether I'm going to teach. I'm not sure whether I'm going to lecture. I'm not sure whether it will be only my private work with clients that I engage in. And that I realize that I am in no hurry to have those answers. So it's not because I'm being lazy that I'm not hurrying. And it's more that there's a great easiness happening, from within me, at being at peace with whatever pace I'm at. And
Mm.
I've noticed that I can still speed up if I need to. I can rush down the road in the car if it's required, and that I can also drive very, very slowly and not feel any kind of insistence from within that I start to hurry up.
Mm.
And I also noted that when we hurry, there is a beginning to that. There is often an end to it as well. But what is it that makes us start hurrying? I
Mm.
mentioned it just now, some of the reasons for that, but why? Why are we hurrying? Can we not say to ourselves, do I really need to hurry? Is that that thing that's inciting me to hurry as important as I think it is? If I hurry, will I actually get to where I feel that I'm going any faster? Or will something get in the way because I happen to get there when it was the wrong time? So what do we as individuals need to to be at a pace, to maintain a pace that is appropriate for the moment?
Mm.
And can we feel it? Can we feel it inside ourselves when we start to rush, when we start to hurry? And when we're hurrying, when we're increasing our speed, can we feel when even just the movement that's a little bit quicker turns into an insistence and becomes sort of clogged with the speed for no reason? And sometimes speed for no reason, because it's literally, has no direction, or has no understanding of itself. That gets us into trouble.
Mhm.
It can easily get us into trouble. We do things prematurely. We take a chance at something, and it's an incomplete. What results is an incompleteness, which we could have changed or avoided had we not been hurrying.
Mhm. Mhm. Very good point. Um, that's so interesting you say that, because I do believe most of us, well, depending on where we live. And it was very interesting to hear you say when you drove across Canada and you were going through the cities and how they were rushing and hurrying. And it's so funny because, of course, I live here in Los Angeles. And prior to this, I lived in Hong Kong. And I've spent a lot of time in New York City. And, and so I go to Canada, Vancouver, which is one of the cosmopolitan cities, and I go, wow, everything is so slow. And then I drive through Alberta and I go, whoa, everyone has time to breathe here. How wonderful.
Mhm.
So it's so relative to where we are, how we live life, the pacing of it. And I can recall, Anatara, when I loved speed. Just loved it. It was that adrenaline rush, whether it's in a car, on a motorcycle, or in life. Just bang, bang,
Mhm.
bang, 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 and always leaving things right up to the crunch time. Just almost like a dare for myself. Am I going to make it
Mhm.
there on time? Right? But you're absolutely right. I mean, in that time, and that space, it was just part of life. It was fun. It was a great challenge. But I do believe that as we get older and we start to pace, and in a big city like LA, to try to get from point A to point B, it's exactly what you just did, taking that breath. Taking that breath, being in the car. Our days are so scheduled so that we can get through the day. But what is it? Is it worth the hurry? And I go, you know what? We had to rush today. Tomorrow, guess what? Everyone's waking up 15 minutes earlier. Why?
Exactly.
Because I don't want this.
Because the rushing doesn't always feel, it's not always supportive.
It's awful.
Yeah, and you miss things, and you miss each other, and you miss moments, and you miss what the world is presenting to you when you're in a hurry. Now, I'm going to make a little confession myself, since you've just talked to us about your love of speed. I love speed. I absolutely love it. I love the adrenaline rush you talk about. I love feeling my body up against the water rushing by if I'm water skiing. I love being in a car and going as fast as I possibly can when it's safe. I love it. I also really love the pace of a city. And I know that more suited to me, it truly is, being outside of the city, but I love that as well.
Yeah.
So that's when we can look at when speed and when hurrying, when it's just speed or when it's hurrying and rushing, because those are different things. I am also considered to be a very speedy person. Most people look at me and go, "Whew, how did you do that? And how do you maintain that energetic level? You're just so speedy, And I think, it doesn't feel that way inside me.
Yes.
So obviously that's just a pace and a rate that suits the way my energy flows through me. So what we're talking about now is the difference between that, knowing that we can be fast or slow, and knowing when we are hurrying for reasons that are productive and helpful, or when we are hurrying and rushing because we think we have to, or because we're caught in a schedule. And it's just that basic analysis that, if we do it for ourselves, is going to be very, is going to reveal a lot of things about what our priorities are.
Oh, we'll just go through that checklist personally.
Exactly.
Oh my, yes.
And make sure you take your time doing it.
Yes. It is funny. It's like, it's the most, I think the yogis really had it set about taking that moment, just even if it's 30 seconds, just to take that breath, calm the body. The clarity is immense.
Immense.
Especially when you're in a whirlwind.
Especially, and just to support that thought, what I do with my clients in probably as the primary tool is to use the breath as a mode and as a means of self-discovery. So that when you feel the hurry, when you feel the rush, or when you feel the quiet, you can use your breath to give you the space which shows you what's really going on. Lovely.
Yes. This is a very good awareness for us to all continue to be aware of, really, to constantly remind ourselves, to say, okay, whoa, why are we rushing at this moment? Are we going a little faster than we need to? I think you hit it right on the button, because that is the pace of the world. With what someone had said yesterday, that the attention span has gone down to 7 seconds. because of all the new mechanical devices that we have, because of the tweeting, because of the different forms of social networking now, that the attention span is 7 seconds.
Mm. That's pretty. I'm not going to label it.
Yeah. It's our speed. No,
I think that with all of those, all the means of communication that you've just described, and the 7 second, attention span. Instead of labeling everything that we do as being, good or bad, too fast or too slow, understand that there is a scale with everything, and that if you feel yourself exceeding a place on that scale of movement of speed that feels, it just doesn't feel quite right in the moment, then just take that breath and ask yourself, why am I going at this speed? You don't even have to say, why am I speeding? Just say, why am I going at this speed? And there may be a really, really good answer. There may be a really, really good reason. And there may be an obvious suggestion that a slightly slower speed would work better. So it's be part of the scale, be part of the understanding of the why of it.
And understand your own scale. So much so. We each of us is like, for yourself and myself, it's like the pace of that city is like, okay, we like this. It works for me. And it's not about anything else, but it feels good and it nourishes us. And that whole movement is very exciting and in a very good way. And whereas the next person, I mean, they could be, instead of on a horse, they could be in a car and going, whoa. And so it's what's right for them.
And here, I'm going to share one other thing about myself and the rate with which I live my life, the speed that is comfortable for me to go through life with. I've always thought of myself as being much like a hummingbird, zooming, zinging from one thing to the next, sipping the nectar, finding the gems, taking on what was there for me in any given moment. And I find that I'm a hummingbird when I'm moving, and I'm also a hummingbird when I'm sitting on the branch contemplating what the next stage of movement is. So the hummingbird is very, very fast, but the hummingbird is also at ease and still sometimes. And the corollary to this is that the zooming, the buzzing, the very speedy part of the hummingbird part of myself, if she feels that she is being held back and restricted, becomes feels very caught, feels stranded, feels stuck. And that is something that I have really looked at for myself in terms of my rate of movement, and to really see that even sometimes feeling caught or feeling held back is just a different way of looking at being at ease. And that it is my mind that has given me that interpretation. So I throw that out to the listeners because we probably all have, levels and layers of that affect us too.
Absolutely. Thank you, Anatara.
You're welcome.
Oh, that's a wonderful moment. Thank you so much for inspiring us to continuously really know ourselves better. Really know ourselves better and keep checking in. And of course, we would like to thank each and every one of you for joining us in this new platform of education and information. We're grateful for your continuous support and look forward to hearing your feedback on how we can serve you better. We invite you to join us live on Tuesdays for Magical Medical Tour at 10:30 a.m. Pacific, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Wednesdays for Trinity of Life at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, followed every other week with Flowing into Awareness with Anatara. I'd like to remind you that you can also connect with Anatara by following her on Twitter at Anatara, and of course through her own website, anatara.ca. Anatara.ca. Please leave us a comment or some suggestions. We'd love to hear from you. Call us at 818-LETS-TALK. 818-LETS-TALK. Until next time, namaste. YHTV's Trinity of Life. Come join me, Christina Suzama, as I journey to find the many modalities that support individuals, from children to adults to elders, with topics ranging from health and wellness, meditation, and inspirational stories. I invite you to visit yogahub.tv every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern.
And I tell my patients, who come in for a cut or a bruise or whatnot, and their blood pressure's like soaring and they're forgetting to take their meds. And I was like, are you ready to die? Sometimes that's unfortunately the route I have to take, or okay, you need to take control of this. So, and different people have high blood pressure for different reasons. But it was a story that, it was an experience that changed me. And maybe also had a lot to do with why I learned into medicine, but it was a learning experience, so